Morning, and thank you very much for joining us, the midweek edition of This Morning on TVC. My guest today is Chuks Nwoko. Mr. Nwoko is publisher MDG Magazine. He's a social commentator. Thank you very much for coming on.
Good morning, Carol.
And we're going to be joined.
Morning to viewers.
Good morning. Thank you very, very much. And we're going to be joined, all other things being equal, we're going to be joined by Dr. Danny Kere. But here's the slight background. About 2 weeks ago, remember the news, that story broke about socio-cultural groups endorsing candidates for the presidency. I think this was against the backdrop, in particular, of Ohaneze, I believe it was, endorsing the presidential candidate of the PDP. And that led to, some exchanges. I think the presidency, not the presidency, President Buhari had reported that he wasn't concerned. And then, a bit more of the story, as that was going on, he had been called reportedly by, citizens from the Southeast saying things like, trouble yourself not, don't worry, we got your back. Don't know who those guys are, whatever. Then there's also, on this particular theme, Afenifere also is reported to have said that, well, even though the president probably will win, but in the Southwest here, his fortunes are doubtful. So we're saying, look, all these groups, how relevant are they to the cause? This whole matter about this sociocultural group, that religious group, that other one, what politicians will take whatever boost they can get. But tell me, what do you think, Chuks? Are we making too much out of this? The fact that, that people were calling the president and that the president was saying, I'm not bothered. Let's just look at this whole matter of those kind of groups.
I don't know what was a deception, the agenda or the motive for setting up those cultural groups. But I want to suspect that it was to represent the interest of the ethnic groupings and all that.
Most likely.
But I think that when you have elder statesmen making these kind of statements at every turn of election, I'm wondering, is that what they were set up to do? Or are they just jumping into a political arena or jumping into a business enterprise that's no longer in vogue, where at every time you have an election, you start making these comments?
Wait, Chuks, with very great respect, I interrupt. Anybody's allowed to comment
absolutely. In democracy, but yes. Democracy is not a license for some of the things that I see some elder statesmen do. I mean, democracy, it's okay to have freedom of expression, but we must be guided. We must remember that we are one nation, or one country, if you like. We must be careful what we say. Democracy in itself is not a license for some of the things that are ascribed to freedom of speech.
Okay.
Freedom of speech without responsibility, without self-respect, without dignity, it doesn't work for me.
Is that the way you see all of this playing out?
Yes.
Is that the way you would characterize all of this? Because they certainly must be involved in not just the social well-being of people, that they purportedly are representing, but even their political fortunes.
Are they still representing anybody right now?
Well, that's another question.
Are they? Because for me, they've lost their cultural relevances as far as I'm concerned. Because for you to be relevant, the things that you say matter. Your age matter. You should be consulted, if you are old, you should be consulted by the young ones who should sit at your feet and listen to you and acquire wisdom. It means that you become a political ancestor, where people should pay homage to you and sit under your tutelage, and you admonish them about how to carry on, how to behave.
But are you suggesting that exactly is not what is going on
now?
No,
that is not what has been going on, except the captions that I see on national dailies and some of the things I hear on radio and TV ascribed to these cultural groups. It's not true. But if they are true, for me, they have lost their cultural relevance. And in fact, political relevance, as far as I'm concerned, they have completely lost their relevance. Because how can you, on the eve of the coming election, and be making some of these utterances? It does not show that we are one nation. You can speak for your cultural groupings,
yes,
but still put that in perspective that Nigeria should not be polarized. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Well, I do. I do, but I'm still struggling trying to understand if anybody from A, B, C, D,
Cultural
whatever,
group, yeah.
cultural groups, if they say this is our viewpoint, that this is the guy who is supposed to, who God willing, will lead us, and we throw our weight behind him, we sponsor him, we support him, they're entitled to that, and then the other group, B, C, or D, can counter. So that is why I wanted to find out.
Let me tell you why I think they should be more careful.
Okay.
And why I think they should be political ancestors rather than making all these statements that are polarizing and whatever. Let me give you an example with Ohaneze. About a week ago or so, not long ago, I saw Ekweremadu and the Southeast, 3 South or 4 Southeast governors pay a visit to Buhari and on and on. After they have made these comments that they have made, these governors and Ekweremadu, they belong to a certain generation. They belong to our generation and all that. And there's, they are divided. So who are these Ohaneze people representing? How many groups do we have from Southeast? Okorocha is on his own right now. Then you have these governors and Ekweremadu going to ask this man for more, for more input to bring more infrastructure and to fund the second Niger bridge and all that and all that.
Yes.
So I don't understand. That's why I said to you that they have lost their cultural whatever, if they are not in cohesion with their governors. Because you refuse to acknowledge that this man is doing, that this government is doing something in that place. Therefore, you are asking for him not to be voted for by your people. By the way, you don't have control over your family. How much more the entire Southeast?
And that is a very important point. So everybody can have their way. The people will have, they say, I beg your pardon.
Yes.
The people will have their way.
Yes. But this say is very, very important. There's so many things that have been spoken that does not bring about our national cohesion, that is shrouded in vindictiveness and in malice. I think they need to stop.
Okay.
If you are going to make a statement, what will it take you to find the views, to harness the views of your governors and your other political leaders? You just call yourself a cultural group. You have, in the same Southeast, you have iPod.
Okay.
So I think that they need to recognize and locate where they should be and speak and keep Nigeria together by the utterances that they make. It's very important.
Joshua in Ogun State, good morning.
Good morning. How are you, sir?
Good morning, sir. Very well, thank you.
Yeah, good to always listen to you. I appreciate the way you approach things. Always appreciate you. I always try calling. But thank God I'm in today.
You're too kind, sir.
I love the starting point of your guest. I greet him too.
Morning to you.
I just want to say that we need a nation first, and then we need political structures. The socio-cultural groups are just seekers for political patronage. They are rent seekers. It's just like we had sometimes in the past where pastors give this prophetical endorsement of political whatever, just for patronage. It has nothing to do more than patronage. But it is sad because, people are swayed. Majority of the people are swayed by such comments. Sometimes they have people who think they have relevance, and then they follow what they have to say. At the end of the day, people are misled.
Okay.
By their statements and all that. Now, if I give you the bigger money, you endorse me. The other person comes and pays something higher, you endorse the person. Why is it about political? Why is it about patronage? Why is it about money? Why don't we think about the nation, the interest of the nation? What are these groups promoting? Is it the welfare of the people? Are we talking about medical health for everybody? Are we talking about affordable education? What do they stand for?
All right.
When there's a major problem that touches on their people and maybe there is an allegation of fraud, they stand up to say, no, it's my own. As long as it's my thief, I'll protect him or her.
Thank you very
What
much,
is
Joshua. Appreciate you. Appreciate your calling in. Appreciate that. Well, Joshua's made some very, very serious
Absolutely.
allegations because
Right on point.
as he said, as I think everybody has the right. He has alleged that it's. Why is it about what was that word? Sponsorship or in short,
Patronage.
Patronage. That it's about patronage.
That's why I said they have
we don't know how fair that is, because it goes back to your original question, your first question, which is what exactly are these groups representing? Who are they representing? What indeed are their objectives? But Joshua made the point that there are some people that would queue up behind them. I don't know how many, really. I mean, Afenifere.
Nobody's going to queue up. Nobody's going to queue up behind them.
Ohaneze.
Nobody's going to queue. They can't tell their son. The man who has Ohaneze cannot call his son and say, come and vote for my whatever. He can't even say that to his wife.
That's why we shouldn't be worried.
Yeah,
that's why we shouldn't be worried, right?
Exactly.
And that's why I'm surprised.
My worry is that when they make these statements, the people who publish it in newspapers and bring it to you and I, they are not able to ask deeper questions. That you are dividing this country and actually ignore them. Because we got into a point where we need to ignore them. Today, what we have in this country is what we have been bequeathed to by these people who call themselves elder statesmen and divided these different regions into social cultural.
But it should still be anybody's right to
absolutely. But it is not their right to make statements that are polarizing.
Okay.
This thing that you are doing used to be a viable business in the past. It's no longer a business. The man who is in Abuja is a tight-fisted man. He doesn't even have, I don't think he even has enough to share to anybody to come and endorse him.
Okay, I think in Surulere, Ikenna wants to join us. Good morning, sir.
This is Uchenna.
Uchenna, I'm very sorry. Uchenna, good morning.
You take this, your guest, too serious. Because I see every time you call him to the station, he become hostile to other people. If he has a democratic view to support Buhari, don't other people have that democratic to oppose him? I mean, Afenifere has been very important from the days of Awolowo up to date, and Ohaneze has been there in the east, and you have Arewa People's Forum in the north. The Constitution guarantees people freedom of association and guaranteeing the freedom of expression. So if they come as a group and the elders in the communities and decide to express opinion, who is the Christ who will go to decide whether the people listen to them or not? Who is this Christ who will go in that? Can you win?
Uchenna. So, I mean, state. Wait. You know we have, generally speaking, we have rules of engagement. Uchenna. I'm sorry, we can't take any more. We're going to discontinue this particular conversation. Now, could I just, first of all, I just wanted to sort of explain it. We take all views, but we won't take personal.
I think it should have been allowed.
We won't take personal attacks. Well, you might be as magnanimous, but we won't take personal attacks. We won't appreciate somebody calling in to say, who is this guy? But by all means, disagree with him from the beginning to the end. But we just would appeal.
You cannot stop such.
Please don't follow his lead.
No, I will not. You cannot totally. There will be people
who disagree with what you say, with what anybody says.
Absolutely. But if you notice in my articulation, no individual's name has been mentioned. What I said, and Uchenna needs to listen, is that these cultural groups, whether it's Afenifere or Ohaneze or the one in the north, they have outlived their usefulness.
Okay, one of the things Uchenna was saying was that you are hostile. First of all, how would you evaluate that you are hostile?
I am not.
I am not. Certain
I am not.
Aspects of
I
the
love
story.
this country, period. And anything and any statement that
but he was saying that
polarize,
as you have the right to support Buhari, if indeed that is the case, then everybody else has.
I cannot support Buhari.
Thank you very much.
I cannot.
It's very good that you are clarifying that.
I cannot support him because I believe that Nigeria is the place is where it is today, because young people, though they don't have the experience, who are inspired and who can take Nigeria to the next level must be given an opportunity.
Okay.
It's not this thing that you media people are doing and talking about Atiku and Buhari all the time. That is not for me. So you can hear from what he's saying that he's not paying attention. Nigeria, if Nigeria must exist, all these democratic licensed utterances that are dangerous must be addressed.
But the beautiful part of all of this, as I referred to the fact earlier, look, people can say what they want. I think you have also alluded to the fact that I'm not too sure any one group has that power to sway people in one direction or the other. You were saying that hardly can anybody call his own son and say, this is how you should be voting. You know, I think they're trying to... Ogbonna in Apapa. Good morning, sir.
Yes, good morning, Chief Professor Onkuyori.
The handshake has reached the elbow.
Yeah, nice. I want to contribute on this very issue.
Go ahead, please.
About the cultural group.
Yes, and how relevant you think they are to the purpose of electioneering.
Let us not take the fact that they have a very good relevance. Don't just throw it away. Not like what the president said, that those that defected from any party, they are irrelevant. Let me tell you, you can influence someone. This is what these cultural groups are doing.
Okay.
And it's because we are divided. Because the government has divided the country, everybody are glamorizing on who to support. Take a look. They are talking about the second Niger bridge. Onkuyori, that second Niger bridge, is it built in China? Is it not in Nigeria? Why are we so trying to say that the government have done well by trying to say that
when you're making a comment, these people don't listen to what you're saying.
Is it only the Southeast that are using the second Niger bridge? Is it the only Igbo that are using that second Niger bridge? And besides, for you to go and check if that work, if there's any work there. Then let's go back to the issue at hand. The issue of Nwoko is trying to say that the Igbos, the Ohaneses, they are nothing to do they have nothing to contribute in terms of the election. I want to quite disagree with him that he's not painting the truth of the matter. If he's an agent or if he's a appointee of Buhari or you, because you personally, I know for sure that you are campaigning for Buhari. Bring some PDP members to that studio of Priori.
This is the kind of people that you have to
campaigning indirectly. But I want to tell you, the truth of the matter is that remains that we are trying to say the truth.
Okay.
Let us say the truth on Priori.
Okay.
They have every influence to influence other people.
All right then.
One Nwoko is trying to say that they have not.
Ogbonna.
Nwoko is telling his wife to go and vote for somebody.
Ogbonna, thank you very much. First of all, I appreciate your contribution. Thank you very much. And I deny what you just said because you had the right to say it, but I said that I'm not campaigning for Buhari. We are airing it. We will take views that are actually against Buhari. We will take those that are for Buhari. That's just the way it is. So you could say what you said, but I then have to respond the way I have responded. That not so, sir. And when I do, if I do, start to campaign for Buhari, I think the only honorable thing is to, first of all, headline that is indeed what I'm doing. So that's that. But thank you very much, Ogbonna, for contributing. Again, somebody taking an exception, which is natural to your view. And it just so happens that the people who are calling in are relating to Ohanese, but it's not just Ohanese. As I was saying, Afenifere also has its own issues. God knows where where else these groups are. And so the question we're asking is that, well, how relevant are they? Are they important enough?
I said, and I need to repeat it.
And
they've lost.
Ogbonna has said that very important.
Yes.
You say not
I don't know what the constitution of these groupings are, but I was here when Pa Abraham Adesoyan, a protagonist of Afenifere, I remember during the Abacha era. You could see how that they had a mandate, they had a goal, they had a dream, and all that, and they pursued it to a logical conclusion, or so far. But all these statements that does not allow, all these sentiments that do not allow you to see the whole here being Nigeria, and you make these statements as if elections will never come to an end.
Are you suggesting, therefore, that, for instance, whether it is Ohanese or whether it is Afenifere, or when they want to...
The one in the... Yeah, all of them.
When they want to make their statements that somehow, you see, they have to take a pan-Nigeria point of view, that goes against...
The statements that you're making, that I expect them to make, should be made in such a way that Nigeria's interest is protected first. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Okay.
See, because you know how he said, you can play locally, but you're in a global whatever. That's how it should be. Nigeria as a whole, anything that we're doing or saying must be to first preserve the entity of that nation state. For instance, if Buhari...
Look, how about when somebody says, look, your votes in the Southwest here, don't worry about it, they're protected. Isn't the person allowed to say that? That's the way, that's what he feels. That's what he...
Absolutely. That's what I'm saying. But you were talking about the effectiveness of these cultural groups. And I said to you, I haven't spoken in French, that they have lost their relevance.
Okay.
There's no organization that is on this earth that just exists and without rebuilding, or even companies without creating new products or services that will remain relevant forever. They need to look inwards.
That is your opinion that you're putting forward for consideration.
Absolutely.
Comrade Ayo, good morning in Oshogbo.
Good morning, Chief Onkuyori.
Please continue.
Onkuyori,
Yes,
you see, the issue at hand, I want to align my position with your guest there. See, the socio-cultural group, be it Afenifere or Anize, Arewa, they've lost their relevance. They've outlived their usefulness. Honestly, don't let us deceive ourselves. Is it Afenifere that will tell the good people of the Southwest where to vote? They can't do that. See, coming out to endorse a candidate, these people are just doing it for patronage and personal interest. See, Nigerians as it stands now, Nigerians know what they want and what they want at a particular period in time. See, I am a supporter of Buhari. I don't owe anybody an apology on that. I am supporting this president because of what I believe he has done for this country and he will still do for this country. See, Onkuyori, we have a singular problem in this country, and if that problem, if we are able to at least solve 80% of that particular problem, we will solve majority of our problem. It is like the biblical saying of seek the kingdom first and every other thing will be added to you. If we can be able to solve the issue of corruption, if we can bring corruption to the barest minimum, I'm telling you, Onkuyori, every other thing will follow suit. Good hospital, good road, good education, everything will follow suit. See, coming out to say, yes, what of a man who was accused of collecting money, and he come back and said, I did not know that the money is meant for the purchase of arms. Why do you investigate this guy that is giving me this money? Where did he get this money in the first place? You didn't do that. And they asked you, and you said, I'm less concerned. They gave me money and I collected it. So what are you talking about? Is that person that will now come back and tell me that I am a member and a leader of Afenifere? This is what I want you to do. As far as I'm concerned, as educated as I am, and as a Yoruba man, I believe in the Nigerian project.
Thank you.
Nigeria is first.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ayo. Ayo said inter alia that Nigerians know what they want.
Absolutely.
I just want to interrogate that statement a bit. Is that true? Do
Yes.
we know what we want?
Do
we really know what we want? Because why has the battle, for example, the other word that came up is corruption. I don't think any Nigerian wants corruption. Or maybe they do. But let's interrogate the statement. Nigerians know what they want. Everybody knows that corruption is bad. It's destructive.
Not everybody knows that.
So then, where does the statement Nigerians know what they want come from?
Nigerians know what they want in the sense that we know that we want to remain one. Period. We want to remain one. For those who don't want us to remain one.
But as you know, even that statement, it can be subject to a debate.
Absolutely. That's why we're in democracy. But when you subject such topics or issues to debate, my worry, my concern, my counsel is that we must mind our language. Very fundamental. Very fundamental. We must mind our language. Nigerians know what they want in the sense that if you go around Lagos, go around Abuja and all that, ordinary citizens are living together.
Of course.
Eating together and drinking together.
If there is no politics. If you
even in the
remove politics, then ordinary Nigerians are living together.
Even in the face of politics, outside of Facebook, maybe you want to say.
Okay.
But in the streets, in the workplace, go around all the organizations where people are working, all the different tribes, in the banks. Nigerians want to live together, and we live together. Go to the markets. Go
to the soccer clubs.
Absolutely.
Go to the national team.
Go to the beer parlors and all that. Nigerians are one.
They are one there.
But when you bring this into these elites, whom I have severally described as destructive elites, They speak this language. And I'm saying, no, you need to minimize it. Be careful what you
Language
say.
has to be circumspect.
Absolutely.
Olubenga in Warri, good morning.
Hello, good morning, sir.
Thank you very much for calling in.
Thank you.
How do you see it?
I just want
How
to say
relevant
that
are these sociocultural groups in their endorsements of one political figure or the other?
it shouldn't be something that they should do at all. As much as they are socio-cultural group representing certain areas of the country, their first interest should be to promote the unity and development of Nigeria and the development of their own section of Nigeria. And they should be able to do that under any government. That should be their focus, not to endorse anybody or any government. Their drive should be to promote the interests of their people within the ambit of the Constitution of Nigeria, not by endorsing anybody, but by promoting the interests of their people for the development of their area. And they cannot achieve that by endorsing anybody. Because what happens if you endorse and at the end of the day, your candidate loses the election? You are saying that candidate should turn away from your people. So you have shot your people in the foot. So they shouldn't be doing that. It is not in the interest of the progress of the entire Nigeria. They should focus on getting development to come to their people, and they should be able to obtain that under any government whatsoever.
Absolutely.
Not under endorsing anybody.
Thank you, Olubenga.
Contribution. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it.
Impressive. Awesome. That is the way it should be. Because, you know, when you speak the truth, especially on TV, because of the fast nature of television, people don't hear what you're saying, and they just assume that they heard you. Look, politics is about what you invest. It's what you invest in politics that most times, that's what you get. That's what he was talking about. If you keep endorsing people and your candidates win the election, at the end of the day, you start raising fire that your people have not been appointed as ministers and all that when the person lost the election in that zone. I think that we should be very careful. That, for me, is bottom line. So, like, look, we have enough problem in Kaduna. We have enough problem in Kaduna. Do you understand what I'm saying? We have enough ethnic and religious crisis in Kaduna. So all these statements themselves, they are the things that bring this fire. That if we are not careful, it will burn down this Quran. And we don't want it, because some of these people who make this statement, they have lived maybe more than half of their lifespan on earth. They should allow us and our children and their own children and grandchildren to have a nation to ourselves.
All right,
they should not divide it.
I got to take a break now, but don't go anywhere, please. We'll be right back. And indeed, I did at the top of the program say that Dr. Daniel Kere was supposed to be on this set. Well, he will be on this set when we get back. We're looking at the question of should social-cultural groups be endorsing political candidates? Is that their function? How proper is it? And so far, we've heard that, you know, they're very, very important and they're relevant, and we've also heard that they're not relevant. Their relevancy has passed. Stay with us, please. We'll be right back. So welcome back. And should social cultural groups, you know, should they be Arewa, Ohaneze, Bafenifere, etc., should they be endorsing political aspirants? So far, we've heard the views of people, almost like half and half. Some people say have absolutely no business doing that, and people saying that it is entirely their right. One, in fact, the first caller even came in quite belligerently, attacking, you know, the messenger, apart from the message. But it's all good. We've been joined by Dr. Daniel Kere. Dr. Daniel Kere is of the Department of Philosophy, University of Lagos, but we're happy that apart from philosophy, he also keeps an eye on what's going on in the polity. Thank you very much for coming on, Dan.
Thank you for having me.
What are your thoughts, since we've heard both shades of opinion in regard to sociocultural groups like Afenifere, Arewa, or Haneze, and any other one you can recall, purportedly endorsing any particular candidate?
Thank you so much. I think from different perspectives, we can say that where they have a right to, you know, endorse whoever they want to endorse. I remember a few months ago, almost all the local governments in Lagos endorsed Ambode, as their candidate, and only a few weeks later, the same set of people rejected him. You know, but it's a function of where they have a right to make such expressions. But is it right? Is now the issue. Yes, because these are people who are ordinarily, who should be representing particular enclaves, particular, group of people. Now, among those people, you will find people who belong to different political parties, the people you are representing. So what happens to their interest? If you are not saying that you are endorsing candidate A or B, and perhaps you have, members that you are representing who belong to the both parties, what happens to the interest of the other? So, and again, looking at it from the point of view of the tendency that should your candidate lose election, there's a likelihood that he will want to visit such, kind of anger or, whatever, on that particular area. It would have been better that such organizations act like traditional rulers. For traditional rulers, whoever comes is the candidate. When you come, they bless you. This one will come, they give you their blessing. So the one that eventually emerges becomes whoever is in charge, such that they will be able to approach the person or approach the office for whatever request they have. But at the time you endorse A and B eventually wins the office, what happens? What courage will you have? What will be your moral stand in making demands on such a person that you have not done this or you have not done that? So it creates that kind of confusion. And in any case, it is not always the case that the entire people of an area follow one line.
That's right. That's right.
So when you begin to speak as an umbrella body, as if you are speaking for everybody, you will just be misrepresenting the facts.
As you said, as if. But Nigerians, I want to believe that we know what side we're on. The group itself might think it has everybody on side.
Take for instance, Ohaneze Ndigbo. Sure. I'm not saying they've endorsed anybody, but a group like that, we believe that Ohaneze Ndigbo is a socio-cultural organization that represents the Southeast. But within the Southeast, you have ABGA. Within the Southeast, you have APC. Within the Southeast, you have PDP. So who are you going to endorse?
Okay. Yakub, thank you very much for holding on all that while. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning to the two girls in the studio.
Morning, sir.
Thank you, Oga Yakub.
God will bless you once again, because this is only the opportunity to bear our mind. Sijori, let me just say this thing quickly. They have lost everything. I'm a Yoruba person. Are you telling me Nathan can tell me who to vote for? In my own domot here, I think I'm relevant than most all of them.
Oh, dear.
Who is doing this to Yakub?
Oh, my God, that's not fair.
But that one sentence,
he has made the point.
He has made the point.
Exactly what I was
He can't say anything different for the next 29 minutes.
The rest will be emphasis.
Yes, that in this my domot here, I'm more relevant than any Anfenifere, any Ohaneze, any Arewa.
Yes, now.
In terms of who should I vote
that is very correct.
But the point Chooks was making, well, that was what I was saying, that well, if it is said that Nigerians know what they want, then it means you can't feed them poppycock because they don't want poppycock. So why is anybody worried? Chooks said because sometimes they can be divisive.
Yeah, you see, true, yes, most Nigerians, I don't want to believe that every Nigerian actually knows what he or she wants. There are some people who don't even understand the issues. And some of these candidates that are even being presented, a lot of them, when you measure their names, in so many areas they'll be asking whether those names are streets or trees or anything.
Because people don't know these personalities.
So to begin to think that every Nigerian knows what he wants and can equally tell that this one has the capacity to bring about what I want, I think will be overgeneralization. However,
don't forget,
we have an idea of the kind of environment we
people sometimes think that, for what you just said, that how many of these people are well known? Because they are under a party, people know the symbols. They know.
No, the symbols are not known. Even at my level, I don't know the symbols. The parties are so many.
But people say APC, they know who you're talking about. So you might not know who the candidate is.
But you are talking of parties that are known now. There are so many. Even you, as a media man, if I ask you to list all the parties, I doubt if you can mention all of them.
You're very, very correct.
So how much more? The person who is perhaps not opportune, not exposed to media the way we have it in Lagos.
So are you saying that these sociocultural groups should just hold their peace?
I think their responsibility should be to educate their people.
Not be endorsing
at all,
candidates up and down.
sensitize them, conscientize them, tell them to make the right choices.
But no politician, Chooks, is going to, deflect any such support, because politicians want all the support that they can get. Otherwise, this thing would not have had a chance to fester if the politicians themselves were unwilling, because of the very notions you are expressing, were unwilling to be adopted by them. But the politicians are taking it. Reportedly,
it's not every politician. There are politicians who are very smart and recognize what we talked about, how irrelevant they have become. I told you when Afenifere, for instance, started. I was very young when Pa Abraham Adesoye, they had a goal, and they turned that goal into reality. They had leadership, they have followership, and all that. And like every product, once you don't rebrand or create new products and all that, that line of business naturally dies. So I think that they need to look inwards and say, look, we're in a democracy, in a republic that started in 1999, 1998, 1999. We need to rebrand. We need to dig in and find out where and how we should function, create new relevance for ourselves, and that's how it should be.
Okay, churches, for instance, would not go as far as endorsing anybody.
Why not? The churches and everybody are following the same pattern.
But they've not got...
But what I've said to you is that it's not every politician...
They might just say that you need to be conscious, you need to be politically conscious, you need to go out and do all...
Some politicians understand how that in this age, that endorsement has no relevance anymore.
Ehi in VI, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Uncle Yoli.
Good morning, sir. Thank you for calling in.
Okay. Uncle Yoli, first and foremost, let me greet your guest. And I want you to also forgive those ones that are accusing you of being Buhari side.
It comes with the territory.
Okay. You see, this social cultural whatever is something that I've started long ago. Even the time of UPN, NPN, we have all of them participating. So it's not something you remove from Nigeria immediately. And it's also good to sanitize them, to let them know, look, this is not called for. It's going to cause division, hatred between people, because like the other man said that people in your group belong to different political parties. We should fight for the general purpose of Nigeria, let people vote wisely. When you say people vote wisely, is that this group should be able to fight, vote buying, so that the people can have the actual vote. This is what they should be campaigning for. Not to start taking sides, vote for this person, vote for every Nigerian, like they say, knows they are right. But the problem remains one thing. They can buy vote. I don't see a lot of people running out of that one or people coming out of that vote buying. People are still going to sell their vote. But if the social group want to do something, is to educate the people. Engage them. Don't sell your vote. Let's do it right this time. Let's vote for the rightful person.
Okay.
Then tomorrow, if the people are not doing well, this same group, they have right also to go to that government and say, you are not doing what you promised our people.
Exactly.
This group should agitate when a government demands and fails to do their responsibility. This is where they are to come in. For me, this is what I see.
All right, then. Thank you very much, Ehi. Really appreciate your calling in, because what I can infer from what you're saying is that, as you have said, there are different people. The Southwest, for example, is made up of all of the members, all the political parties. So how do I just like and it tallies with what you guys have been saying. But we still go back to these groups that are doing this. Unfortunately, they're being accused of it's because of patronage. But even that can be,
At this point, I don't think patronage is going to yield anything, because the man in that place, I don't see him as a giver. So you might not be impressed. Like you were saying, talking about politicians drifting towards that. It's not every politician that gets endorsement and will be so excited and all that. And all that. You know, some people know the value they have and what they bring to the table. So if you like, and they know what we have expressed here, they already know. You cannot force people to vote for a person of your choice.
Even though you never said so, but I think one of the things that might have been in the recesses of your mind as you were talking against this is that and everybody is saying that one of the things we should be shunning is tribal politics.
Absolutely.
And you know, you didn't use the word, but I suppose there's also that danger.
Yes.
And that's why I like Ehi's contribution that, look, at the end of the day, you need to be able to go back to whoever anybody was supporting and say, look, you're not delivering. And you can't do that if you've narrowly endorsed a person. This is the best thing.
But in the 2015 election, this thing you're discussing here, it happened. After the election, and we had somebody who had won an election, all this agitation now started. Do you understand what I'm saying? We had violence, agitation, we had all, and it's still happening. Now, you make the wrong decisions, and you want to be compensated for it.
But you see, Nigerians know what they want. By the way, let me not keep Mazi Okoroafo. Let me not keep him waiting any longer in Arochukwu. Good morning, Mazi.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, Oga Woke and other guests.
I greet you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Dr. Kere.
I can't answer. Sir, you see, what is happening? There are 5 factors that are affecting sociocultural issues we are looking at. 1, religion. 2, sectionalism. 3, culture. 4, tribalism. And 5, the language. Now, these are the issues we should look at. Now, you ask yourself, why are these sociocultural gathers dangling into politics? They are supposed to be custodian of the culture of any society, of any place where they are. But the question that because of the issue of Choco, this money issue, many of them have just delved into this issue of monetary aspect of politics. Yes. That is why you see the issue of cultural politics, endorsing candidates, endorsing politicians, which is not normal. Because in a country like ours, we should talk about unity, uniformity, at least the progress of any section, whether Igbo, Yoruba, Hausa, Batin-Batio, Nyamino, anything you may call it. That is what you should be looking at. But a situation whereby we start using politics to start playing politics with culture into this, it's not the option. But the thing is this, we have to be very careful so that this thing will not affect 2019 election. Because if it affects 2019 election, you see that issue of Igbo Yoruba section and Hausa section will dance, the big dance. Thank you very much. Have a blessed day in Lagos.
Indeed. Thank you very much.
I was trying to raise the issue. What is actually the basis of endorsement of any candidate? Is it that the candidate has so marketed himself, so has sold programs to them that they are so fascinated with it? And at the end of the day, they believe so much in the ability, the competence of that particular candidate to deliver.
Is that it?
Yeah. Is that the basis of this? Or is it inducement?
Or is it that
something?
He is our son
or
our daughter?
From our neighborhood.
From our neighborhood.
So must it be somebody from your neighborhood? So what happens when you endorse your own and every other person endorses his own and the rest of it? So what exactly is the basis of it? So if we have a very broad base on why this endorsement is happening, perhaps we might want to look at it critically. But this just overgeneralization, I see it as the ingenuity of Abacha, because Abacha was one of those who began to create this politics of who the cap fits, and before you know it, 2 million man march. What's the name of, is it Kano, or what is the name of that? Somebody who now moved people to Abuja, in the course of which so many died on the road and all of that, all in the name of endorsement. So we must rise above this level of politicking.
Okay. Igwe in Aba, good morning, sir.
Good morning. How are you?
Very well.
Compliment of the season.
Well, okay, thank you very much. How do you see sociocultural groups endorsing politicians? Is it right or is it wrong?
What I'm saying is that their errand has passed. They are no longer valid in this modern day democracy. They are dividing Nigeria. You can see the president they are creating in the southeast. I'm going to speak for Haneze, okay? They have no business to endorse Obi, as a running mate. They have no business to endorse the politics. They are increasing tribalism in Nigeria. Their errand is gone.
But Ohaneze is an extension of People's Democratic. It's an extension of People's Club of Nigeria, and People's Club is dead. When the People's Club died, all of them now migrate and form Ohaneze Igbo. Do you understand? That was what happened.
Igwe.
They had hold up, just give me 1 minute. 1 second. The federal government declared IPOB a terrorist organization. This so-called Ohaneze could not speak. They could not rise up and say these people are not terrorists. They kept quiet. They are collecting money from Abuja politicians, endorsing politicians, endorsing P2B.
Igwe, you don't have any evidence for that one, no.
Why didn't they declare? Why didn't they tell the federal government that IPOB is not a terrorist organization? They all kept quiet. That these people are not terrorist organization. They kept quiet. They say they are speaking for the South East, they are speaking for the people. Why didn't they speak?
All right then. Well, thank you.
We have 5 states in the Southeast. So-called people cannot speak for us. I said the Igbos are marginalized. They could not speak. What they are doing to endorse candidates and collect money.
All right then. Igwe, because you have now moved into the area where you don't have any evidence for, but thank you very much for your contribution. I guess what you, if I had got, the question I wanted to get in was whether you thought there was any influence at all behind these endorsements, but I couldn't get that question in. But I think we'll have to infer that.
He made a point.
We'll infer that from all that you did say.
Yeah. The point has also been made by Igwe. Look, in 2016, sir, in 2016 here, on the 8th of November, we were here when the election took place in America. A political no-fight came to that place, defeated Bill Clinton, defeated his wife Hillary, Obama, Michelle, the 2 daughters, Chelsea, all the military establishment that endorsed Hillary, and all the big men that endorse. So every time you have a phenomenon, after a while it dies if you do not recreate it.
Okay. Did you also, Dan, want to comment on, well, Igwe's...
Igwe has actually made a very salient point that a lot of these socio-cultural organizations, they seem to be outside the realm of their responsibilities. Now, individually...
But do they have any influence is the question I'm interested in.
But obviously, you know that such decisions will not just come about without some measure of influence. And influences are diverse. You know, it could be a function of maybe assurances, political assurances of what some of them might get. It could be a function of how much they are putting into their pocket as a result of that mere declaration, which might not necessarily translate into anything meaningful. It could equally be that somebody is just trying to play around, you know,
intelligence,
some issues. Yes. So there could be a lot. In fact, there certainly will be a lot of influences. But whether these influences can bring about anything meaningful.
But that's what I meant. Whether they would have any influence on the electorate?
No, certainly not.
Okay. Yakub, you got back in. You got one sentence in the last time. Let us not count that as your quota for the day.
Thank you very much, Sibori. Let me just go straight to the point quickly, because you see, I was saying earlier that in my domot, I'm a popular person than most of them. You know why? If you came from a office as a client, I will tell you the reason why you should vote for my own candidate. And then I will give you a lot of reasons. If you say that you don't want to vote for him, give me a reason, then I will be able to convince you why you should vote for him. Let me tell you, if you are in democracy, you can see, imagine how many people come to this studio now. If you can be able to collect how many people against them and how many people for them, you will not know that they were not relevant. Let me quickly say this, Sibori. They were not relevant because, number one, they were doing this because of their children, most of them. When they supported somebody, God forbid, if the person comes to power, they will not be able to tell the person, I have a children, you should give him a minister, you give a head of prostitute and all this. Look at that person come from Igwe court. These people supposed to speak for Igbo people. As any they're supposed to speak for the Yoruba nation. Are you telling me I'm not a Yoruba when you're not telling me that you endorse somebody that I don't want to vote for? In the first place, how do you become a Yoruba leader? You have to question them as well. How do people become a very leader? Because you cannot tell me that I'm a very leader, which I don't believe in you. If you supported somebody and then the person does not win, and then you now come today that the rail line that goes from Ogun State to Abeokuta to Ibadan, you should stop it or whatever. Are you telling me that?
All
and
right.
God bless you.
Okay, thank you very much. How do you,
questioning the recruitment process or belonging to
how do you become, you know, a leader of
Yoruba
Ohanese?
people,
How do you
or
become a
Igbo
leader
people?
of Afenifere? How do you become a leader of Arewa? At least we know the others that it is because everybody voted for them. That's why. These are important questions, right?
Very important.
Very important.
Very
What is the recruitment process? How do you become?
What is the recruitment process?
yes, and that equally would determine the lot of the you know, the credibility
And the respect you get from the people.
You know,
but that respect would have been earned if you keep defining your goal. You see, the goal is no longer there. I told you how, as a young person, I will see that elderly man passionately speak about against military rule and all that and all that. And everybody was in tandem with him. They would hold meetings. It was a big deal. When Afenifere is holding meeting in any part of Yoruba land, you wanted to hear the outcome, what they have decided and all that. When they went into exile and all that, they carried everybody along.
Yes.
But
things have changed.
that era has changed. You have not
And you are saying that,
you have not redesigned your goal and goals and objective. So you don't have a reality.
But they would seem to be leaning on those times, and you are saying that's not going to be acceptable.
That is not, you have not rebranded, that is still in the market. It won't sell. Every company that cannot add new product to what they have before will be out of business. That's why you have companies creating new products. They need to go back home, redesign their goals and objectives, and come back to us and do something that will draw us to them.
Well, Dan,
Yes.
it's been said that Nigerians know what they want, and whether they want sociocultural groups to be endorsing political leaders remains to be seen. But you just said that you don't think such endorsements have any influence on the electorate.
Certainly not. Certainly not. Because we know that from every part of this country, there are diverse interests. Interests are aligning here and there and all of that, looking for which one will be suitable to, you know, to match. So for you to begin to think about endorsing, when, as a matter of fact, some of the leaders of the various parties are from the same areas, you find them all over different parts. So how do you, Okorocha, for instance, is from the southeast.
So we shouldn't be concerned about all these matters.
Peter Obi is from the south in different political parties. And you are telling me that a body that represents all these people will endorse one person and the other will be so calm, so happy about it.
And there's half guy in Anambra State.
Are you getting it? So it cannot work. Is it Yoruba?
But you know when Nigeria...
We got to leave it here. We completely run out of time. But I want to thank you, Dr. Dan Ekere of the Department of Philosophy, University of Lagos.
So it was a pleasure.
And Mr. Chuks Nwoko, publisher of MDG Development Magazine.
MDG Global Magazine.
MDG Magazine. Yes. That is Millennium Development
By the way, on the 22nd,
magazine.
we're going to change the name of 22nd of December.
Don't be doing any commercial here.
Okay. I didn't want to come here next time and begin to tell you we're changing the name of the magazine to sustainability.
Okay then, thank you very much. I slipped in that particular one.
For allowing me.
Please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I am Iyori Folarin. Bye-bye for now.